Hello, my name is Iris Berman and I'm a licensed massage therapist. This is the next session in a series of self-massage for quarantine. Here we are living in most unusual and interesting times. And these times are often providing quite a bit of stress in our lives. It is helpful in those times to be able to relieve that stress. And to do that, it helps to be able to take care of ourselves, because many of us are truly isolated, or we're in a fray of other people that we would like to be isolated. Anyway, we're going to be focusing today on the shoulder and arm. Before we begin, I'd like you to just take time and create a space for yourself in which you can be quiet and alone. Find yourself getting to center. Create the space however you need, with lights, music, candles, whatever it is that helps make you more relaxed. When you have gotten that area set, please, if you're with other people, ask them to give you the space to do this without being interrupted, or join you and participate along with you. Take in a breath and breathe out. Take in a breath, and as you do, really bring yourself separated from everything else that's going on, and breathe out. Bring yourself deep into this place that you are right now, the center, the present. Do that for about 10 breaths, a minute or so. It gives you a way to just bring yourself into center to get the most benefit from what we're about to do. Before we begin, I'd also ask you to take off your watches and your rings, because we're going to be working on this whole area here, and we don't want any of those impediments. So we're going to begin with the shoulder. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the structure of the shoulder, because you'll want to be able to feel the contours. Many of you may know what I'm saying, but if you don't, this is your introduction. The front bone here of your shoulder is the collarbone, or the clavicle. And the one in the back is the shoulder blade, or the scapula. And in between those two is a little gully of soft tissue. That's where we're going to focus, into that gully. So starting at the shoulder, feel for the bones and feel for where that gully starts and the soft tissue starts. Press down. Now, some of you may find sensitivity because you've got stresses and strains, and if you do, hang out there. Remember, honor your edge of receptivity. Play up to where it is still acceptable for you to be touching there. If you do, breathe in, focus on that area you're touching, and breathe out, and release whatever you can. Do that a few breaths if it's very sensitive. In the meantime, you come up and you can wiggle back and forth, press down, back, side to side, whatever feels right. Trust me, you listen to your body, it will tell you what it wants, tell you what it needs. Okay, so you're going to do that. Keep going up the gully. Now the gully will get wider and the tissue will get more available as you get all the way up to the neck. Now, these muscles within that gully are the ones that bring your arm to the side. So while you're pressing in, if you just a little bit, just activate the muscle just a little bit to the side, you will find that this will help release easier, faster, deeper. Okay, now, the next place we're going to go is the cap of the shoulder, the deltoid. Now, the deltoid is a muscle. It's called a deltoid because it's shaped like a delta. It's wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. So you're going to start at the top of that shoulder, and you're going to feel the squishy, wider edge of that muscle. And as it's good to remember that shape, because as you go down, you can feel it tapering. And it'll eventually, as you get down toward the middle of the arm, kind of taper to a point. That's the deltoid muscle. It's a really good muscle to release. And you can squeeze it, pull it off the bone. It should be mobile. It should move side to side. It should move with relative ease. If it does not, or if it's sensitive, or if it feels bound, that's where it needs more attention. So hang out there, wherever those points are, and get some release. Okay, next, we're going to do the front of the arm. So you have your arm be laying somewhere comfortable on a surface. Face, palm up, and reach for the soft tissue of the front of your arm. Now, there's two major muscles there. You may have heard of them, the biceps and the brachialis. But that's what we're going to release in this part. You should be able to feel the muscle. Wiggle it side to side, pull it off the bone slightly. It should be mobile. If it is tight, if it is limited in mobility, if it's sensitive, those are the areas that need extra attention. So hang out there. Squeeze it, twist it, pull it, whatever you can do that makes sense for you. And you're going to take that all the way down to just below the elbow. That's that wonderful territory there. Next, we're going to do the back of the arm, or the triceps. So you're going to lift your arm up a little bit. That's the kind of stuff that hangs down for those of you who are old enough to hang it down, or it's a lovely muscle for those who are young enough to have a nice firm muscle. You're going to squeeze that. Again, you're going to take that from as far up in the shoulder as you can reach and come on down to just below the elbow. Now, if you have any areas of sensitivity, hang out there. Remember, don't forget to breathe. Breathe in. Focus on the area that you are touching. Breathe out and release whatever tension, sensitivity, discomfort that you can. And you do that. Oh, yes, I just hit a spot. It's very nice. Okay, so you want to do that all the way down to just below your elbow. Okay, next we're going to go into the forearm. Now, if you have your arm be kind of relaxed, and you take your hand and go, have your elbow a little crooked a little bit, there'll be this nice mushy wad of tissue just at the top there. So you can grab that. That's several muscles, by the way. And these are muscles that extend the hand. So they're the ones that pull your hand back. And if you want to test that, squeeze that area and move your hand back. You will feel those muscles activating under your hands. And it's not the only thing they do, but it's the easiest way to tell that you're on the right territory. So you squeeze that, lift it off the bone, wiggle it around. You can stroke up and down, not across the skin. You're taking the surface tissue over the deeper tissue. And you squeeze that down. Again, if there's anything sensitive, stop, hang out there. As you move down the arm, you'll feel this is nice and squishy because that's the bellies of the muscle, but as you get further down, you'll be into the tendons, and that is still needing to be addressed, so keep going down until you get to the wrist. And you do up and down that as much as you need to. Then we're going to go to the other side. You go to the inside of your elbow, and you'll find another lesser wad, not as squishy as that one, a little harder to grab, but still valuable. Grab that piece, and this is the muscle that flexes your hand. So again, you can feel the flexion. So squeeze and bend your hand, bend your wrist forward, and you should feel those muscles in action. Now, the act of squeezing this, on all these muscles, when you activate the muscle while squeezing it, it helps to deepen the relaxation. So it's a good thing to do. And if there's any sensitivity, you'll feel it releasing more quickly. Take that all the way down to the wrists. Work that area. Then we're going to go into the hand. Now the hand, oh man, we use the hand for everything. We grip, we cut, whatever. If you've been out gardening and doing things, your hands might be saying, what in the world? Or if you've overdone your typing, it's an area that really likes to be worked. So we're going to start with some general relaxation of the hand, and I'm going to finish with a few reflex points in the hands that help with stressful moments. So in the general thing, we're going to go, there's this, if you go just at the base of your thumb, there's a big fleshy area. For those who know it, it's called the thenar eminence. This area here is lovely to be touched. This is what moves our thumb. Remember, we have the opposable thumb that has us be more flexible and more dexterous than other animals. Well, that thumb gets a lot of use in just about everything we do. So if you squeeze that nice, big, fleshy area there at the base of your thumb, it'll be happy. Okay, so then, once you've released that, you've got, if you look on the back of your hand, you can see or feel there's 4 bones, one for each finger. It's called the metacarpals. We're going to go play up and down those. So starting with the pinky, you start down at the wrist. You're going to squeeze and move up and down and side to side and stretch it out. And you're actually trying to touch the bone. Now, some of you, depending on how fleshy your hands is, you may find it more difficult to feel the contour of the bone. Most of you will be able to feel it on the back of the hand more than the front of the hand because our front of our palms are fleshier than the back of our hands. If you cannot sense it, imagine it, because it's in there. And just work the area as if you know where it is, but do your best to feel it. Then you go up and down, and then you go back to the wrist and go to the next bone, and you feel for it and move it up and down, back and forth, squeeze it with a static pressure. Again, any areas that feel sensitive, hang out there with a static pressure. And take in a couple of breaths. Don't forget to breathe. Breathe in and focus on the area that you're touching. And as you breathe out, release any tension that might still be there or any sensitivity. You're feeling for flexibility, you're feeling for mobility, you're feeling for sensitivity, any of those things. If they feel that that something is not moving as it should, then that's a good place to work. You come back to the wrist to get to the next one, all the way down from the wrist down to the base of the fingers, and rub across the bone, go up and down the bone, if you can go around the bone. To get to the one underneath your pointer finger, it's good to just come to the other side of the hand to reach it more easily. And all the way down, and don't forget the thumb. That bone right underneath that thenar eminence, that's another one of those for the thumb. Okay, now the fingers. The fingers are each made of 3 bones. In the thumb, there's only 2. So you're going to work on those, because there's a lot of muscles that activate your fingers and all the fine movements that your fingers do. So starting at the base of the fingers, you squeeze from the front and the back you grab the front and the back of the hand, and squeeze, rubbing up and down and side to side, and on the finger you can go circularly around it. Don't forget the joint. Those of you who have arthritis, this is a nice thing to do, bringing circulation to the area, relieving some of the challenges that you have there. Up and down, side to side, circularly, don't forget the joint. All the way to the tip of the finger, and squeeze the tip of the finger. And you come back down to the knuckle at the base of your hand, of your finger, and do it. Oh, wait a minute. Go back. You're going to go also side to side on either side of your finger, and do the same thing. Don't forget the joint. Come back down and squeeze and wiggle around all the way and squeeze. And you come to the next finger, holding front to back, side to side, up and down, circularly. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget the knuckle. Focus on the knuckle as you get by it, then to the next finger bone, to the next knuckle, to the next finger bone, and when you get to the top, you squeeze the top. Come back down to either side of the bone and do the same thing. Don't forget the knuckles on the way up, all the way up, and squeeze. You do that on each finger, and it can be marvelous. As a means of releasing all kinds. You'd be surprised how much tension can hang out in your fingers, in your little finger, any finger. So don't forget, you go to either side of the bone, you grasp it, squeeze it, go up and down, circularly around. You feel, when you get to the knuckles, you're almost feeling, or even along the shaft of the bone, you're almost feeling like you're polishing the bone. You want to bring circulation to the bone. You want to soften the soft tissue around the bone. You want to liven it and vitalize it. As you go, don't forget to breathe. Focus on the joints between the bones and the bones themselves, and either side of the finger bones, all the way up. And squeeze. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to focus on the 3 reflexology points. Now, Reflexology is a system that recognizes specific points in the hands and the feet that have reflexive relationship with other parts of the body. There are a number of them that can be helpful in relieving stress. One that I've got to tell you, it is the best. If you have headaches, if you tend to suffer migraines, if you just are, stressed in general, having other general aches and pains in the body, this is a general release point. It's called the Hoku point, and you find it by having your finger and your thumb kind of next to each other. You'll see that it creates a fleshy mound. Put your finger right in the center of that, and then open your thumb away and squeeze right in the middle. Now, if you have a headache or a migraine, trust me, this is going to be sensitive. So this is an area that you really want to be respectful of your edge of receptivity. Just press as deeply as it is comfortable to be pressed. It's okay if it's even just very, very lightly on there, because if you're in a moment of heavy pain, this is going to be very sensitive. So be gentle with yourself. Hang in there, taking a breath, and breathe out. And really, as you breathe out and as you release the tension, you'll feel your hand, your pinch will actually ease into going deeper. And each one will open up a little bit more. And this is a fabulous point. It's kind of like a mother point of stress relief. You can hold this point for minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes. It's good to do. Just hang in there, breathe with it. It's calming to your whole system. It's relieving of headaches and general stress and aches and pains in the body. So this is something you can do all day long. Just find yourself overwhelmed, take a moment, step aside, and work your Hoku points. These are just marvelous points to activate. So once you feel like that has been cleared, another area that is often affected during stress is our diaphragm. We either forget to breathe or we hold our breath, we breathe very shallow. The diaphragm is a powerful muscle. It's this domed muscle that when we breathe in, it flattens out. It compresses all of the organs in our internal organs, and it creates all this wonderful space for the lungs to increase in space for air to come in, to breathe in oxygen. And when you breathe out, it releases. So in essence, it's actually massaging your internal organs. So taking a series of deep breaths is very, very good for releasing stresses. So the reflex areas in your hand that relate to the diaphragm is right in here, just below the little fleshy area below your fingers. There's a fleshy area. Just below that is a little archy thing that's almost reflective of the diaphragm. Come right into the center of that. And what you'll feel, for those of you who are having these difficulties or having a lot of stress, this might be quite sensitive. So just hang out there. Breathe in. Breathe into the area. Feel around for the spot. You'll know it when you're on it. Feel it. Breathe in. And breathe out. Relax. Ease. And work your abdomen while you're doing it. It's a good thing to do. Breathe in and visualize as well as sense your abdomen opening, going down into the abdominal area, compressing the internal organs, creating space for more air, and breathe out. And feel that whole thing releasing. It's marvelous. And from there, once that's been released, you kind of work your way outward toward the side of your hand, again, stopping anywhere where there's sensitivity or where it seems to be needing more attention, and then come to the other side and work your way from the center out to the side. Great release. One more area that is often relative to stress is the adrenals. The adrenals are glands that are associated with the fight or flight response that we have in our body. And if we're under stress, that is activated. So we really want to release that. Now, how do you find that spot? If you go just where the Hoku point was there, go a little bit besides that, and just below the diaphragm spot, and just up above this fleshy area of the thumb, the thenar eminence. Feel around. It's going to be the exact point's going to be slightly different in each person, so you feel around for the point that's sensitive. You'll know it when you get there. And if you're under stress, you'll know it faster than somebody else. Okay, so You're going to hold that point and take in a breath. And again, this is another one of those points where you can hold for a minute or so. It's really kind of wonderful and releasing and relaxing, and it just discharges the stress mechanisms going on in your body. Okay, before we get to the last finishing point, I wanted to talk about if any of you feel like you lack the grip strength or the stamina to take this through its whole system, there are other things. You can use tools like this that have little pointy areas that can go in between and work the area for you. Things like that is wonderful. You can also take a golf ball and rub it in between your hand or put it on a harder surface and rub around, so that could get into those areas in a very general way. For the scapula, if you could not reach behind to get the back of the scapula, there's all kinds of wonderful, a tennis ball, one of these things that we showed you before that work for the neck would be really nice for the shoulder also, or this one, which is great for the feet, but it's also a nice little half moon to lay on, or even your tennis ball, you can take it out of the sock and put that on there. Those are really nice extra tools you lay on, and you can do the massaging from that point. So you want to get the release. You don't care how you get there. Okay, to finish off, what I want to do is just have you stretch and vitalize your hands. So place your hands together and stretch, leaving your fingers touching, and stretch the palms of your hands away from your fingers. You really feel the stretch. It's a lovely stretch. And then stretch between each finger. Stretch down the finger. Stretch down the finger. Stretch down in between each finger, and you can even do it for the thumb and forefinger. Your hands should feel vitalized and refreshed and ready to go back into the fray, whatever that may be for you. So I hope this was helpful, and that you all stay safe during this crazy time. And whatever you do, choose joy. Thank you.